So, good evening, friends. And I'm very glad that all of you are here together to decide where to invest the money. I think many times people all over the world, and particularly in the developing countries, have a peculiar problem. The problem is how to make money. So sometimes we feel that the challenge is how to make money, but seeing at all of you, I don't think that's a problem because you have made enough money. But then seems to be a bigger problem, having made the money, how to invest the money. And I think if one has to find out which is more challenging, I think you will come to the conclusion that investing money is far more challenging than making money. Of course, you invest also to make money, that's a different matter. And therefore, the world is struggling to find out how do you invest the money that we have globally available. If you look at the global surpluses, and my friends from the World Bank are here, they'll tell you while on one hand, the global economy is struggling to revive, there are most of the pockets of geographical pockets are really not reviving as much as they should have. But at the same time, there is enough liquidity available in the market. And that's not just only because of the monetary policy. That is one of the contributing factors. But this is not the only one which has resulted into the surpluses available globally, which needs to be invested. We also seen a country like China, which has lost some of its foreign exchange reserves, which were almost touched $4 trillion. But still, they have huge reserves. And now, as we can see, globally, the investment is something in the interest of those who are holding such huge surpluses. And therefore, the question then next comes is, where do you make the investment? So, investment, if you don't make, the assets that you're holding, particularly the financial assets, if they are not properly serviced, will also result into losses to you. Not just opportunity loss, but a real loss. And therefore, the investment destination has to be chosen very carefully. And therefore, if you look at world as a whole, and if you look at the large geographies, you take off South America, where there are obviously the challenges because of the ability of the region to export commodities has declined considerably. That's why the largest economy of the region, Brazil, has in fact contracted 2.3%. If you go to US, everybody is saying now US is reviving. The last quarter results are not as good as they should have been. Canada has really suffered again because of the commodities, and in fact the Canadian currency has declined by a substantial margin in the last few months. Europe, as you all know, we don't need to talk. In Asia, seems to be some action. But a country where it's the most happening country in this region is India. And therefore, while we will be very happy to have a higher growth rate because we are capable of it, we have a potential of it, but still when you look at it in the global context, what we are doing is far better than what others are doing. Not that we are happy with it, we would like to do it more. Our Prime Minister has a very clear goal of reaching double-digit growth in the next few years' time. But in today's scenario, this seems to be the best possible destination for investment. And investment, when we talk about, there are various kinds of investment one can make. But in Indian context, I would feel that investment-led growth in India is yet to really begin. Some countries have seen a huge boom thanks to they invested far more than even the domestic savings. Of course, some of the countries have a huge domestic savings, that has 50%. But some could do that with even foreign capital and could actually accelerate the growth rates. In India, we have still not reached the desired level of investment, and therefore, while we are increasing our domestic savings rate to drive the growth and the investment, we would be very happy to have investment coming from outside of the country. And when the investment is made, we have to find out the benefits of that investment accrue to the investor as well. And that is why we feel that the best destination for investment in India is that infrastructure, in my opinion, is a long-term bet for India and for the investor. Because as you can see, the investment deficit, the infrastructure deficit in India is pretty large. We have to cover a lot of ground. We have still not reached the desired destination of at least 10% of the GDP going into infrastructure investment. And therefore, over a long period of time, we need to put money into infrastructure, maybe even for the next 2 decades minimum. In that, obviously my other colleagues have told you why we should invest in the other sectors. So I'll confine myself to saying why you should invest only in railways. Of course, it's not my argument that you don't invest in other sectors. But I would strongly urge you to invest in railways for a simple reason, and I will just tell you where to invest. My colleagues will tell you. Though I am a minister for railways, I have to take a flight to go to Mumbai. I cannot go by Mumbai, so I have to catch a flight. So I believe in multimodal transport. So I will go by that. But before I do that, let me just tell you broadly. Every rupee that, so when you have decided to make investment, country risk, country issues are very important. So whatever you invest in the railways, you'll have a spin-off benefit of 5 to 6 in terms of getting other sectors benefit out of it. So when you make investment in railways, India is going to grow faster than the sectoral growth that will happen in the railways itself. And that's why the demand that will accrue to the economy as a whole, the benefit that will accrue to the economy as a whole, the demand that will be driven for the other sectors will be far greater. So railways is one of the key drivers of growth in India. And therefore, when we presented the last full year budget of this government, we stepped up the investment into the railways in a significant way. And investment, as I said earlier, that making money is difficult, but spending money seems to be far more difficult for us, railways, looks like. So first year, we had a challenge because railways never spent like this. In the history of railways, we have never spent the money that we have spent in last 1 year. And to do that, we changed the entire systems. There is to be at least 2 years time lag between the time you decided to have a project and the tender was issued. I just coming from Bangalore, issued. And my other colleagues will tell you, including my finance commissioner, how much we have spent. That I will leave it to him and let him commit that he is spending more, so that will be happy with that. But, so one we decided is to invest into the railways. To invest, we decided to raise resources outside the budget, because traditionally, the railways were relying only on two sources. One is the internal accruals, either fare or freight, or going from railway bound to North Block, which is the headquarters of the Ministry of Finance. So we thought there is a lot of money available there and they are not able to spend, so every ministry goes there and tells them, why don't you give it to us? So Finance Minister must be thinking how to dispel this misinformation that we have so much of money that we are not able to spend. So we decided to raise money outside of these two resources. And we got $25 billion as a first tranche from the largest insurance company in India, Life Insurance Corporation of India, and we did that. But as we go along, we'll actually do that. The point is, why are we investing money into the railways? It is not just investment for the sake of investment. The idea is, as I said, the overall benefit to the economy. When you invest in railways, the economy benefits. But railways has to be the most preferred mode of transportation for the country. First, 8.4 billion people travel by railways every year. That's more than the global population. So we have to provide them the comfort. That's the first priority. Secondly, the economy has to grow at a faster rate. We need connectivity. The movement of goods, whether raw material or finished goods or intermediaries, have to flow from one end to another, and that has to happen through a most preferred mode of transportation, that will be the railways. Road is always good and we need to not compete but complement with them. But in context of today's world, where the climate change is a major issue, the least emitting mode of transportation is railways, and therefore we need to make that greener. So we are actually working on that, and making investment in railways will actually bring that benefit of connectivity, reduce the cost of transportation, hopefully bring down the speed of transportation today with the investment we are making in the next 3.5 years, that we'll talk about dedicated freight corridor, how we are going to increase the speed of transportation of goods from today about 20 kilometers to an hour and totally unpredictable when it will reach destination to something at least 3 or 4 times higher than that. And therefore the speed and the cost of transportation improving, automatically that will lead to better economic growing. And that's one of the reasons why we are making investment. And to make that, we are also trying to make sure that we have a proper trade-off between early gains and long-term interest. So our entire idea was this year to invest into the areas where the benefits will accrue to the system in the soonest possible time. And therefore we are investing into doubling, tripling of lines, increasing the safety, therefore investing into the signaling, making tracks. We'll run on more electrical trains, so we are trying to make the traction electrical more and more. So we have actually got 10,000 kilometers target for the electrification. So this is what we are trying to do. So all of that will lead to a transportation system improving, which will boost the economy. And there are many elements of that. There are certain special projects. We are going in for high-speed railway, with something which again I was in the Washington DC 2 weeks ago, 10 days ago, I was telling my friends there that World Bank is obviously one of the largest provider of infrastructure financing. Till of course new infrastructure institutes are getting born. One in Singapore, one in Shanghai. But still World Bank will play a dominant role. So I was telling them that to put high-speed railways is one project in which we got something very exciting deal from the Japanese. They are going to make investment of $15–16 billion into this. The entire money, most of it will come from Japan at rate of 0.1% coupon rate with 50% tenure. With first 15 years, it's not to be serviced. So I was telling my friend the World Bank that now you have to improve on that. So I think I'm sure many of the investors who are here will also look at such good paper for the railways, wherein we can raise resources at such attractive rate, and I'm sure the brains that are here, and I don't think governments do a good job, so you all can do a better job and find out a better financing pattern at a rate which is far better. But we are making investments into special projects, but we are also making investments into certain projects like improving our speed of the existing network, making it safer, making it faster, and we are doing that. So one of the ideas, and that's why I think you all can contribute to it, is we are trying to create a fund. With World Bank will play a role of an anchor, and we are hoping that pension funds, the sovereign wealth funds, could also be the co-investor. And I will tell you the reason why it makes really commercial sense to do this. The pension funds by definition have to look at long-term maturity. When you make investment, you don't want the investment to be made for 3 months or 6 months or a year. Railways is a perfect destination for that because we are continuously having a flow of income, stream of income, which is constantly going to be there and will increase. So stream of income is guaranteed. The capital, which the pension funds are always very obviously very concerned about to ensure that the safety of the capital itself, forget the returns which come later. Railway being owned by the government of India, the capital is definitely completely safe. It's an arm of the government, it's a Ministry of Railways, but I'll come to it how we work professionally. But this one part for the pension fund about the safety and the security part of it. Thirdly, the railways will also be, now we have about $35 billion of revenues, which I'm sure in the next 5 years' time will increase at least by about 50%, with the non-railway operations increasing. There are some special projects like station development, etc. So the revenues will rise, and that will also provide some sort of a comfort to the investor. So this is a great opportunity in the railways to make that happen. Also, the pension fund the fund that we are trying to create will invest into such projects which will be decided by a very professional fund manager. So this will be the decision for investment will not be made on any other consideration than the consideration that the railways will benefit. Incidentally, when I presented the last budget of the first full budget of this government, many of the railway experts, including the people who have worked in the railways all their life, they told me that this was the first budget for the railways. There have been budget presented to the railways every year after year, but it was the first budget for the railways. So in any case, our investment decisions are made only for the railway. So that of course goes without. But even here, we are trying to make it better by making sure that the governance structure for deciding the fund is such a way designed so that it will be done in a manner that all prudential norms are followed in a most proper manner, and therefore we are able to use that fund for the best use of the railways as far as the investors also. So this is one area that we are really thinking about, and therefore we can look at. Now we have taken a number of steps to make railways operation better. We are trying to make now complete integration of communication and information technology into the railways in a significant way. We will actually be investing large amount of money into the entire operation so that we can bring it seamless. We are making it completely transparent. Most of our tenders now are online. In fact, we issued tender for $7 billion recently, and the people who lost out were also the top companies of the world. They said we have never seen a process which is as transparent as this. So transparency is the key. We are actually not just talking about it, but we are working on it, we are implementing it. We are also bringing in the change in the way the accounts are made, not from just changing from single entry to double entry and from cash to accrual, but ensuring that we actually start with budgeting, expenditure, output and outcome. The entire chain of events is seamlessly captured to integrate it from the management accounting, cost accounting, bookkeeping and management information system rolled into one. So we are also working on that. And therefore, these are the few issues I thought I will highlight. But the idea is that railways will drive the economy. Making investment in railways will make the most commercial sense. Also ensuring that the investment made in railways, your other investments that are made in the country will also hugely benefit, because the country as a whole will also benefit from this investment. So I look forward to, this detailed presentation will be made, and we'll be very happy, not only now, but even in future, to engage with you, to talk to you and understand your concerns and find out how best we can work together. So we look forward to making sure that railways will also benefit from the global knowledge, global experience, global best practices, global technology, and integrating that into the system will ensure that our network will improve, the global community will benefit, and therefore we will be able to grow faster. India growing at higher than what we are growing today is going to benefit world economy also. In fact, I remember when I was till recently a Prime Minister Sherpa for G20, and we were talking to all the world leaders in G20, everybody had agreed that they must increase the global output by 2% more. The only country which has actually contributed to that is India. So we like to, if we grow faster, it will benefit the global community as well. So your other investment in other parts of the world will also benefit. So making investment in railways will benefit Indian economy. Indian economy growing faster will also help the global economy to grow, and therefore the funds which are investing globally will also benefit, because we have made investment into one sector in India, which will actually translate into benefits accruing to the other sector. So thank you very much. Welcome to India. I know this is the last session, so I think that's the time to take decision. So I think, I don't know by design or by accident, you have kept it as the last session. So I'm sure all of you will go committing your investment into railways in the next years. Thank you.